with them. Here we are starting out again to finish the last part of the non-specific defenses, and the last two things we'll talk about are the antimicrobial substances and fever. So again, remember that this is all part of the non-specific defense system. So the antimicrobial proteins we'll be talking about today are going to be the interferons. There are many different types of interferons. These are proteins that are antiviral. They fight against viruses. And then another type of proteins that are called complement proteins, spelled Complement. Complement is different than complement, like spelled Compliment. You pay someone a compliment. That's complement with an I. Complement with an E means it's something that goes along with something else, that helps finish it out or helps make it complete. So let's talk about these now, and let's talk about interferons first. These are small proteins that are released by activated lymphocytes and macrophages, and also by tissue cells that are infected by viruses. So there are several different types of cells that can release interferons. And again, activated lymphocytes, macrophages, and also cells that have just recently gotten infected by a virus. Interferon is classified as a cytokine, which is a special substance or chemical that is released by cells. So what do interferons do? What they do, again, let's say we're talking about a cell that's been infected by a virus. What he does, he'll make interferons. Now, that the interferons won't help him, the virus-infected cell. I say him in a silly kind of way, but they won't help that cell. But what they do is they will stimulate other cells to produce antiviral proteins. So interferons help protect other cells. They do not do anything to help the virus-infected cell. What do interferons actually do? Let's just go back to this slide. Interferons will bind to the receptors of a normal cell, and they will cause it by the second messenger system to produce antiviral proteins that will inhibit virus replication. As I mentioned, nothing can save the virus-infected cell, but interferon will help by protecting other cells, by stimulating other cells to make substances that will fight against the virus or decrease virus replication. So again, interferons will decrease virus replication, and they stimulate macrophages and natural killer cells to be more active and to come on the scene and do what they do, which is to get rid of whatever organism it is, the virus, or whatever bad organism is and it is, in this case, interferons are mainly related to virus replication. Okay. Let's go on to complement. Complement proteins are a group of serum proteins that will enhance the inflammatory process, and they aid in the destruction of pathogens. So this system actually complements or supplements or helps out the action of antibodies, which again we'll be talking about a little bit later in the specific immune response. So complement helps, and it's just a chemical system. And so these proteins have special effects that we know about. The first effect is cell lysis. If you remember, lysis is destruction. So it will cause the target cell to be destroyed. And it does that via membrane adhesion complexes, MACs. We'll look at that here in just a little bit. We may not. I think that actually membrane adhesion complexes were something that were discussed in the cell itself when we were talking about cells and possibly proteins. But those are little um, uh, uh, proteins when you make the membrane. Well, I'll try to get a picture of it to show you in lecture. The membrane adhesion complex, that the protein that will go. It's like a little integral protein, and it will cause then the cell to take on water and break apart. So so it causes cell lysis. It causes inflammation. So it enhances the release of histamine, and that causes the four. In your notes, I have CSOI, which are the cardinal signs of inflammation, which would be redness, heat, swelling, and pain. So again, complement helps to trigger inflammation because it causes release of histamine. It causes something called chemotaxis. Chemotaxis, chemo means chemical, and taxis means attraction. So these chemicals will attract certain cells that are phagocytic. It attracts phagocytes, such as neutrophils and macrophages. So chemotaxis is the chemical, because of the chemical nature of the complement proteins, they will attract phagocytes. And then something called opsonization. Opsonization is a term that means the enhancement of phagocytosis. So complement actually makes phagocytosis even more effective. It enhances its effectiveness. Okay. And the last component of this is fever. And fever is, oh, and let me go back here. I'm sorry. The last little thing that is related to opsonization, just as in way of explanation, is that when the complement proteins coat the organism, like the bacterium, it will, that coating makes it easier for the phagocytes to grab a hold of it and phagocytize it. It's kind of like giving it a little coating of protein, like a little, and even antibodies, when they cover an organism, antibodies also cause opsonization. We'll learn about that later, but it's a little sneak preview. But this coating is almost like a little sticky covering that makes it easier for the phagocytes to grab a hold of it and phagocytize. Okay, then specifically the last part of nonspecific defense that we'll talk about is fever, and that's when your body temperature is over 99 degrees Fahrenheit. What happens is chemicals that are in the bloodstream called pyrogens. These are chemicals that are trigger a fever, and these active chemicals will reset your thermostat. They'll change the temperature that your body thinks is normal in your hypothalamus. So that's kind of like where your thermostat is, and it will raise it so that your body thinks that normal is 101. So then your body begins to shiver, and your muscles begin to quiver, and you begin to generate more heat so that you can raise your body temperature to your new set point. Now, is that a bad thing? Well, not really, because higher temperatures will actually inhibit virus and bacteria growth, because you've increased your metabolism of your body, and it enhances those other non-specific defenses. It makes them go more quickly because, again, you have more enzymes. The cells become more active at the higher temperatures. So for every 1 degree centigrade rise in your body temperature, you get a 10% increase in the metabolism of your body. So that actually helps speed your metabolism, speed all the normal natural defenses that would be going on, and help fight it off. Speaking of pyrogens, which are those chemicals that reset your thermostat in your hypothalamus. Pyrogens can be, one example would be interleukin 1. It's a chemical that your macrophages will release, and that will help, uh, reset, and will help trigger a fever. So I wouldn't be so quick to dispense drugs to suppress a fever unless the fever gets really much too high, because fevers are generally helping your body to fight off the infection. So that pretty much covers our nonspecific defenses. So just go back over that and we'll proceed on with specific defenses. Thank you.